What's up, party people? It's Chris with ProPhoto, and this is Geared Up. This is our weekly live broadcast where we talk about lighting techniques and gear, pretty much all things lighting, things in photography. Just have a lot of fun. We'll take your questions if you have any, and we'll demo how you do certain lighting techniques. So really fun stuff, and we're gonna be having a blast. So let's get into what we're talking about today. Today is all about butterfly light, or Paramount light. Is something that you might hear a name thrown around. If you hear the name Paramount light, they're just talking about butterfly light. I have a slightly different take on Paramount light versus butterfly light, and we'll talk about that here in just a second. But for the most part, when you hear someone say Paramount light or butterfly light, they're talking about the same thing. So if you wonder why it's called Paramount light, it's pretty simple. Paramount lighting, back in the old Hollywood days, used this lighting technique a lot. Like so much so that the name of the studio kind of became synonymous with that lighting technique. So that's why you hear it called Paramount light or butterfly light. Now, the reason that it's called butterfly light is because of the positioning of the light. Cast a shadow from your nose down onto your upper lip. That shadow looks like a butterfly that's like flying at you. So I always thought weirdly that like, and I never saw it. Caden's gonna start laughing at me. That's why I'm looking over here. I never saw it, and that's why it always confused me to why it was called butterfly light. But I always thought that like it had something to do with like the way the light on your cheekbones like made some kind of like butterfly shape. Yeah, like right? Flapping butterfly wings on your face. That's not at all what it is. It's just the shadow under your nose looks like a butterfly flying at you. So that's why it's called butterfly light. So kind of just quickly talk about the semantics of, or let's talk about like how you get to the butterfly light look, and then I'll drop into why I kind of separate the idea of Paramount light and butterfly light a little bit. So butterfly light, for the most part, is your light directly, so you can kind of see me set up right here. We might have to go to a wide for it, but butterfly light is about having the light directly above your subject, so in dead center. So that way when the light comes, it comes through here, it's really even, and all it's really doing is broadcasting the shadow right here below the nose. And when Kate comes here in a minute, we'll show you all that good stuff, and we'll also take some photos. But it just has that little bit of shadow right up under the nose, right? So that's kind of how you have to have the light position. To kind of keep the look of it, it's really all about having your subject's face pointed right at the light. And this is where I start to differentiate Paramount light from butterfly light, because Paramount light could simply be taking the light here, and you're still there, like say you're the photographer. We're still here, you're photographing me, but I'm looking at the light. The light is still dead center to my face, right? But now you can't see that butterfly. So this is where I start kind of separating the name butterfly and Paramount. The way that you set the light up is the exact same, whereas the light is just above and dead center on the subject's face. But because now you can't see that butterfly, I call this Paramount lighting. They could both be called Paramount lighting. I don't really care how you would call it either way, but whenever like I say I'm gonna do something in Paramount, it just means that it's not going to be dead center to the camera. So the light will be dead center to the subject, but it won't be the light and the subject won't be dead center to the camera. So cool stuff. We'll take a photo like that too, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But that's just how I kind of differentiate Paramount lighting and butterfly light. So really cool stuff. So you might want to ask yourself, why would I even use butterfly light in the first place? And it's some of the places that you see it used a lot is beauty, fashion, glamour, stuff like that. It's honestly, when you're doing a lot of clamshell lighting, you're doing the same lighting technique, but the difference between butterfly light and clamshell light is clamshell light, like we talked about last week, has a second light source underneath that makes a clamshell, right? So, be it a reflector or another light, butterfly light does not have that. So you can use butterfly light for things like headshots and stuff as well, but the thing you have to pay attention to is it can be a little more contrasty, so because you're not getting a lot of that fill from underneath. Granted, rules are made to be broken. Do your butterfly light the way you want to, but it's generally just a light overhead pointing towards your subject. So another really cool thing about butterfly light is if you have a subject with really pronounced cheekbones, it does an awesome job of accentuating that feature on their face. So it's a really cool lighting technique, just because of the way it hits the cheekbones and it carves some shadows out here right below that onto the cheeks. Really, really cool stuff. Kate actually has pretty good cheekbones, so you'll be able to see that here. Hello. Has pretty good cheekbones, so you'll be able to see that whenever we photograph her. So that's, in a nutshell, butterfly light. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking about it, and we're actually gonna take some photos so you can see what's going on with butterfly light. So let's do, before we go to like the super source setup where we have the all the cameras and stuff like that, go to my tight shot, and I'm going to show people, I'm gonna have you stand here and I'm gonna show them the butterfly light with the continuous light. I'm gonna try not to obliterate your face. So,
headphones on my head.
oh, yep.
Hold on.
Oh, fix your face. What's wrong with your face?
Okay.
So I'm gonna try to use a continuous light. It's probably gonna be a touch overexposed. I'm gonna try to pull it back a little bit. Just take a step back. This way a little bit. Excellent. And I'm just gonna kind of point the light at you. So I'm trying to see if you can see this. Actually, you know what? Just come closer to the thing, because it's gonna be hard to see. Come closer. And I'm just gonna drop the light down a little bit. So look right here, dead on. Yeah, you raise it up just a touch. Yeah, no, I'm gonna pull it down. So go nose down just a little bit. There we go. Pull the light back a little bit so it's not so overexposed. So it might be really hard to tell here, and you'll be able to see with the photos, but that butterfly we're talking about is just right there under the nose. So it's just that, like, it looks like your nostrils kind of curving up like a butterfly. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about that little shadow right there. Now you have a mustache. Sweet. So now that I've showed you that, take a step back from me, Kate, and let's actually do some.
Switch to the...
Yeah, go to the super source. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. You're better at this than I am.
That's right.
Cool. So we have the computer set up. Hey everybody out there, what's up? Brazil in the house. I see you. What's up? What's up? So cool. Again. And I'll take I'll do a shot also that is what I call, again, the paramount light, but this right here is butterfly light. So take another step back for me. I want you a little bit closer to the background. There we go. Make sure that the light is wrong. Cool. And go chin down a little bit for me. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Excellent. So you can really, really see, and when we dive into the actual review of this stuff, you'll be able to see this shadow really, really well. I'm going to power it just a little bit. Sorry, I know it's blinding you. Do it, chin down a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Lovely. I just wanted to power up just a skosh. And so now when we talk about paramount lighting, I'm going to take this light and move it over here. You could stay where you were, you just needed to pivot. So if you kind of rotate out too much, you'll start to be out of frame. All right, cool.
And I look towards...
Yeah, you're gonna look towards the light. Take a step this way. There we go, perfect. Chin down a little bit. 3, 2, 1. Cool. And so that is more of what I consider paramount lighting, because you can't see the butterfly in there. We should probably be good. I'll go and talk about it some more. So let's jump into the computer and let's show you what we're talking about. Something else that we're probably gonna take another shot too, just so you can see. So let's turn this off so I don't kill the battery. Perfect, and it don't kill my eyeballs.
Is it possible to get a full body shot with butterfly light without shadows?
So without shadows, possibly. I mean, now if you're talking about like shadows on the background, unless you light that background separately, there's just gonna be a shadow there. Oh, sorry. So again, so no shadows at all, full body. Probably not. The only thing that I can think that you might be able to do is pull your subject further away from the background. So you're just gonna need a little bit more space. But there's still probably gonna be some sort of a shadow. The only way to really truly get rid of the shadow is to also shoot some light into the background. So one thing I didn't touch on before we did this first shot. So the shot we did here was with a B10X with the Magnum reflector on top of it, so it's a harder light reflector. So that shadow is going to be a lot more pronounced under the nose. If you go to a bigger modifier, you can still do the butterfly light, and this might be where you can kind of pull back on the shadow question. Actually kind of ties in really good here. To try to help mitigate some of that shadow, a larger modifier would help diffuse it out some more. And the only thing that you're going to see differently with a larger modifier is that the shadow under the nose for the butterfly light is also going to start to diffuse out, so you're not going to see that so much, but the lighting pattern is still technically the same. It's just going to be, it's a larger modifier, so it's going to wrap a lot more. And I have a 3-foot octa, the OCF 3-foot octa, that I'll show you that with here in just a second. But I want to show you these two really quick side by side. Let's go full screen. So right here, right here at the nose, you can actually see that butterfly shape. It might be easier if I can just zoom in. So you can see it looks like a butterfly flying right there. So that's where that name comes from, butterfly light. Sweet. But if you look over here at the shot where she's still, like I said, nose dead center of the light, it's still technically butterfly light. That butterfly is no longer there. I mean, there is still a little bit of a shadow under the nose. This is why I kind of separate the idea of butterfly light and paramount light. You don't necessarily have to if you don't want to. It's just semantics. You call it whatever you want. You can call it, chipmunk lighting. I don't care. But that's why if you hear me say paramount lighting, it just means that the butterfly is not there anymore because the subject isn't looking deadpan at the camera. So, but really, really pretty lighting pattern. Like I said here, see, Kate has pretty good cheekbones. Right? Look at you with your cheekbone action. So Kate has pretty good cheekbones, so you can see there's some nice definition underneath the cheekbones on the lower portion of the cheek. So it does a really, really good job of emphasizing those, which is really, really pretty. So let's take a couple more shots. We're gonna do this now with a 3-foot OCF octa. And you know what we'll do before I'll even do that, I'm gonna zoom out. Maybe I'll change out my camera lens and just show you what it looks like maybe with a more full body shot of butterfly light since someone asked. And then we'll throw on the softbox. I couldn't spit that out of my mouth to save my life. We'll throw on the softbox and we will show you what it looks like when you start to diffuse out all those shadows. So, can I get your lens assistance for a quick second, Kate?
Yes.
Somebody have a question?
What about a reflector for the shadows?
You could use a reflector. At that point, again, rules are meant to be broken, but at that point it starts to become clamshell lighting. And it's not technically, I mean, I guess it's technically still butterfly light, but you're using a reflector underneath it. This is where I think it's kind of silly. Sure, you could absolutely 100% positively throw a reflector under there and knock those shadows down. But again, it's at the point of semantics, which doesn't really mean anything. It's not technically butterfly light. So it's really silly, but it's not technically butterfly light. So sweet. Let's do this. So let's get this light kind of pointed. I'm gonna make sure that so come a little more this way so you're a little more centered. This way a little bit more, and you're probably going to see some of the extra stuff in the background. I'm using a harder reflector, so it's probably going to trail off a lot more down lower as I shoot this full body of Kate, but let's go to F8. Everything else stays the same. So we go. Chin down a little bit. Take a small step back. There we go.
Like that too much? That's kind of a big one.
And then a little shimmy this way. Perfect. So here we go, 3, 2, 1. So there's a full body shot for you just so you can see it. Granted, I could take this reflector and I could widen it out a little bit more so it's not so pointed. And then maybe power up just a little bit. Here we go, 3, 2, 1. So there it goes, starts to even out a little bit more just by zooming the reflector out a little bit more. So let's go here to the soft box, the 3-foot octa. And this is where you're going to start to see that those shadows are going to start to diffuse out quite a bit. I'll probably have to raise my light up a touch more. So let's get this on there. Cool. Oh, I tighten this down a touch more too, it's a little bit heavier. Cool. So we have the OCF 3-foot octa on there. There we go. It's
Always good to lock it in.
yeah, you gotta lock it in place. Oh, that wasn't locked. Yeah, we're good. Let's go here. We're gonna raise it up a little bit more because we have more surface area to work with. Cool, so let's zoom in. I'm gonna go back to more of that.
Is it face shot?
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna do kind of a face shot just so people can see that how the shadow is gonna look. There we go. And then I'll show a full body shot so people can look at the shadow as well. I need to power up. Let's just take a TTL shot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, just to get my power back up, I'm gonna bring it back down. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Actually, let's go down a touch more. There we go. So here we go. 3, 2, 1. Cool. And then I'm going to take a full body shot. You mind taking a
Backwards?
You're probably actually fine. There we go. Come just a little bit forward then. There we go. 3, 2, 1. Perfect. So hopefully that also helps with the shadow question that someone had. Let me drop this down. That's good, Kate. Thank you so much. Sweet. So now when you look at the difference between your butterfly light with, oh yeah, I've got a sandbag up high. I was like freaking out for a split second. I was like, I feel like that thing's gonna topple over any second. I'm a pro, I counterweighted it.
That's right.
Sweet. So just wanna make sure, cool,
Yep.
we're good. So sweet, let's do this. So when we go to, let's do the difference here. So you can see there's still a little bit of a shadow here, but it's much more diffused out. Still does a really, really good job of emphasizing the cheekbones. You see there's some nice shadowing down here lower with the softbox, but it's just gonna diffuse out. So if you wanna go with a softer light, maybe someone's skin's not as clear as you would like, or maybe they have some larger pores, you could go a soft light route with something like that and kind of fill in some of that stuff. You could also go the hard light route if you want to. Get even more definition, some sharper lines in those shadows, and a little bit deeper shadows in the cheekbones, which is kind of cool. And then, if we go to the full body stuff, and honestly, I'm probably a little, I'm gonna lighten this one up a little bit because I zoomed the reflector out, and it is a little underexposed. So let's bring that bad boy up a little bit.
Apparently wasn't even looking on that shot.
It's okay. So now, if you want to go full body with the butterfly light, you can. You just have to make sure that, one, if you're using something like the Magnum reflector, you zoom it in so the beam spread's much wider. If you have it kind of towards the front of the flash head, it's going to be a tighter beam spread, which is why we took that first shot, and then I took that second one where I pushed it back. But the shadow is going to be there. The only way that you're going to be able to mitigate that is to try to get the subject right on the wall to where the shadow, the distance between them and the shadow is really, really minimal, or back them up so far away from the background that shadow doesn't creep up onto the background. So those are kind of your two options if you're going the hard light route with that butterfly light technique. Now, if you go to something more like a softer modifier with that butterfly light technique, you can see that shadow, even though it's still there, and you could, again, use those techniques of, pulling the background away from the subject a little bit more, it's way more diffused out. There's definitely, you can see how the shadow starts to go up a little bit at her lower body where, she connects with the ground, the floor, her feet. But the shadow, again, just the soft light has a way of just making that shadow disappear. So you have a lot of good options for trying to get rid of those shadows if you want to. So you can pull away from the background, you can go closer to the background, like right up on it, and the shadow will be pretty minimal as long as you're keeping everything pretty straight, or you can go with a softer modifier, and that'll start to diffuse that out as well. So really cool stuff. I want to see if I have any questions. What's up, Miami, Florida? Paris in the house. Gotcha. Yeah, someone said they're not. My man Greg Shaw said he's not a big butterfly light fan. That's fine. That's the beautiful thing about photography. He's a Rembrandt man. He likes that chiaroscuro setup. So, yeah. But that's awesome. So it's really, really simple. So again, just a quick breakdown. Your butterfly light is going to be setting your light up directly overhead. So camera's here. So you're the photographer. We're going to put the light right here, right above the subject right out of the camera line. This is where like a boom arm or a grip arm comes in really handy, so you can get that out of the way. This is a boom arm for anyone who's wondering what a boom arm is. Boom arm, really, really handy. Get a boom arm. So a boom arm or a grip arm to get that light over and out of the, get the light stand out of the line of sight of the camera. So dead center, light, camera, human being, walrus, I don't care, dead center, right? That's your butterfly light. Then if you take yourself, stays the same, you just take the light and the subject and you move it this way, it's still butterfly light, but I like to call that paramount light. So light still dead center with the subject, but now you're off to the side, so that butterfly shadow is not there anymore. Really cool stuff. I hope you enjoyed our live today. It was really, really simple. Butterfly light's fun. Again, great at emphasizing the cheekbones. Really easy to set up. You can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So yeah, thank you so much for coming and kicking it with us. We'll be back next week for more Facebook Live, Geared Up Live, all this good stuff where we talk about stuff. So also, before we cut out, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we talked about today, if you're watching this, there's a link in the description, either on profoto.com or on Facebook, or all that good stuff. Like, you click the link on the description and you can jump into like a one-on-one breakout session with one of our radical, team members, our technical agents, Anders essentially, and Gibbe. They're rad dudes. If you have any questions about any of the gear, you want to talk to someone one-on-one, you can click that link also. In the meantime, have an awesome rest of your week. Peace out. See you later.